Board of Education meeting to order. Our vision is we believe in opportunities, achievement, and community for all. Our mission is the school district of Milton, in partnership with the community, prepares our students for achievement and lifetime readiness by providing opportunities for all. And thank you to all of you for attending tonight. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, go ahead.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I ask for approval of tonight's agenda, I just want to note for people out there that we have a new item on our monthly agenda. You'll see this every month. It's under 5 miscellaneous, and it is going to be a financial report. And so each month we will be getting a financial report from us. So just to note that. And with that, I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion from Tracy, a second from Rick. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on November 10th, 2025 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion from Rick and a second from Tracy. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action, I would entertain a motion on the vouchers.
I move to approve general checking account vouchers totaling $1,042,246.25 as presented.
I'll second that.
I have a motion from Tracy, a second from John. Any questions or comments on the vouchers? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We had no one sign up for public comment, so we will move on to tonight's Red Hawk recognition. And I'm pretty excited. Tracy, are you ready?
I'm very excited to be able to present all of these evening. So first, I'll pull them up. We're going to start with the students. We'll do one at a time, and then, okay. So if the Milton Middle School Unity team would please join me. I hear they are represented by Sam Ackerman, Caleb Steinmates, Jenna Brand, Joe, thank you, Zoli, and Janelle Agnew, the advisors, and the student representatives, Natalie Cola, Bryn Newton, Ava Willie, Abby Keels, right, and Jackie Kalinsky. Did I say that right? Oh, perfect. Okay, so as it was presented to us, it was very hard to narrow it down to only a few students because right now we have about 45 students on the Unity team. This group of students has already made a huge impact this school year. They recently raised $400 for Can Do Industries here in Milton and participated in a unified bowling event with other unified champion schools. We still have big things to come this year, including the Special Olympics Polar Plunge, Choose to Include Week, and the Unified Track Meet. Thanks for recognizing this hard-working group of students. Want to give them all a round of applause? We will take photos with you. So thank you guys very much for all that you do. We appreciate it. And we're going to do board photos at the end, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So if you just pull you guys back up, thank you. The next, we're going to ask the cast of Mamma Mia from Milton High School to join me up here. So Milton High School Mamma Mia staff, Nicole Schaefer, Abby Landrum, Audrey Ferraro, and Nathan Check. Student representatives, Reagan Lawrenson, Lily Musgrove, Taylor Garrity, Hayden Rotzel, and Tate Olson. So I'm going to that, and I will read. The Milton High School production of Mamma Mia began rehearsals in September and continued nearly every day after school, as well as Saturdays through November. The cast, crew, and pit orchestra include more than 50 dedicated students from all grade levels who have worked tirelessly to bring this high-energy show to life. This production would not be possible without the outstanding leadership and support of Milton High School administration and staff members, Mr. Check, Ms. Ferraro, Ms. Schaefer, and Ms. Landrum, as well as the many parent volunteers who helped make every performance possible. During this incredible production run, we welcomed nearly 1,000 audience members to the John C. Platts Auditorium, and we all cherish the music, laughter, and love so beautifully brought to life by the cast, crew, and pit orchestra of Mamma Mia. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight in the acknowledgement of our outstanding students. And I'd like to give them all, everybody give them all a round. So me personally, I had never seen the show in TV or anywhere, so I actually was surprised by the plot twist at the end. And it was an amazing, amazing show. So thank you guys all for your hard work. It was absolutely wonderful to see. I had an amazing time. I know other board members went. So, and for those of you that went, it was just fantastic. So thank you. I know it's a lot of hard work. I tell you, the stage was beautifully. I mean, it was just so beautiful. So thank you all very much for your hard work. Appreciate it. Another round of applause.
I think what we'll do is do our staff recognition and then call the different groups back up individually for a quick picture with the school board. So if student groups can stick around, we'll have them come back up for a picture in just a moment.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to our staff. So Jody Bennett. Jody Bennett was nominated by Miss Lori Purcell. Okay, now we'll do that. All right. Oh, I have watched Jody teach 4K. I have watched Jody teach 4K students for the last 4 years while she has been in Harmony. She treats all her students with such love, kindness, and respect. She goes out of her way to meet all the needs of the children in her class. She is creative with the materials she provides for the children to learn and the skills they need as early learners. Big round of applause. Miss Mandy Tukendorf. Miss Tukendorf was nominated by Bobby Harrison Vogel. Okay. Mandy is an incredible staff member who goes above and beyond every single day to support students, families, and her coworkers. Her dedication, kindness, and willingness to step in wherever needed makes a lasting impact on the school community. She is not only an outstanding professional, but also a truly amazing human being. And that big round of applause. Miss Liz Evans. Miss Evans was nominated by Sarah. Liz Evans is a consummate professional. Her Spanish classroom is filled with music and color and fun and focus. She has created a space where students push themselves out of their comfort zones as they try a new language. Her lessons, delivery, and classroom management are impeccable. Even more impressive is her work with the Support for Success program. All at the same time, she manages dozens of individual students' learnings, all with different needs, different teachers, and different classes. And she manages peer tutors for those students, all of whom are also learning important lessons about working with others. When she's not supporting kids, she's supporting her friends and colleagues. You would be hard-pressed to find someone who works as hard as Liz Evans. Quite simply, Senora es fantástico. Fantastic. Big round of applause. Carmen was nominated by Angie King. Carmen has been a tremendous asset to the math department during our pilot planning and implementation. She has been spending countless hours outside of contracted time helping us prepare materials that are needed for lessons, helping us problem solve as we are planning upcoming lessons, and working with staff that need additional support during the pilot. I bet she never thought she would learn so much about teaching and learning math as she has in these past 3 to 4 weeks. We are forever grateful for her dedication, willingness to do things out of her comfort zone, and be a team player. Thank you for the opportunity to nominate Carmi. Jennifer Williams, nominated by Jessica Dowd. Jen is an amazing asset to our school. She organizes and coordinates things for students and staff to ensure that schedules are correct and testing procedures are understood and followed. Additionally, Jen is a valued staff member who can always be counted on to go above and beyond to support students while maintaining a calm, reassuring demeanor. Thank you very much. Congratulations to all for the Red Hawk recognition and the time that the folks put in to nominate their respective individuals, as well as to our student and staff. Can we give everybody one more big round of applause? I will let you determine.
Why don't we we'll go in the same order. So if the middle school unity team could come to the front, we'll get a quick picture of the unity team with the board. Then we'll have the mom and dad pass, and then we'll have our teacher, our staff recognition folks come up as a group and get a picture with the board.
So just fit you guys in, I'm gonna have
The
you.
kids go to the front. You guys go to the front.
We're gonna give you
Yeah,
that.
we'll be-
Just so you know.
We're gonna, this is gonna be strange, but whenever we end, this is the front.
Facing.
Yes.
Everybody shuffle.
Facing where the podium is. Good direct, looking great. Okay. Everybody did that. See everybody, big smile. Perfect.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
You're one of the students that-
Mom and dad pass and staff.
Hopefully. What? You broke it. Yeah, you may. Window. Okay, perfect. Ethan, you want to be in it? Okay. There you go. Lily, can you cut this a little bit back, please? Great. There.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job. How about you?
Awesome.
Where your mom?
Staff recognition.
They were back six. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, right, it's on the front.
In the front?
Yeah.
Oh,
goodness. I know you're gonna have to do some forward. I know they're here. I know see you among. I know. You're good, no, you're good. Oh, there, that's all there. Okay. All right, everybody, big smiles. Congratulations,
Folks that are
Have
here
you?
for recognition, senior staff recognition. You can stay the full board meeting if you like.
Oh, but not you.
But you're not, just like.
Thank you all so much. That's always a favorite. Next, we go to Red Hawk highlights, and it should be our admin highlights this week.
This board meeting, our administrators will give an update on things that are happening at each of their schools.
Grades, some of our grades are preparing for winter programs, the winter sings, they call them, and all the different things that come up between the holidays. So I'm working hard to still kind of keep a cap on it and do a lot of learning in the meantime while we're excited about this time of year. We are also all doing some kind of community outreach this time of year. So all of us have what's called a My Little Library, at our school, which right now is a little food pantry. And we're going to keep that running like a food pantry during the holidays. And then Milton East is doing an East Eats program. Harmony does a big food drive this time of year. Milton West does their Macy Day Parade that benefits both the food pantry and the Milton Area Youth Center. And Consolidated is going to do a food drive in January, like a Happy New Year, restock the shelves kind of thing for the food pantry since there's so many different things going on right now. So proud of our students and staff and families for finding ways to connect to the greater community this time of year as well.
At Northside, some sixth grade students had the opportunity, Mrs. Spivak took them over to UW Whitewater to experience Science Immersion Day. They were able to extract some DNA from a banana and examine some pH levels in some household products, but it was a fun hands-on experience for the students that were able to go over there. We just finished a fundraiser, Elegant Farmer, which meant we were selling some pies. And our top pie sellers in each grade level are able to meet Mr. Dye and I tomorrow with a few pies to the face. So that'll be fun afternoon for some of our students. And then lastly, I have to look at my notes because I forgot. Our students have been working really hard. We've been doing a lot with universal expectations at Northside, and they had a goal for the month of November to really work on our lunchroom expectations, and happy to report that each grade level saw some growth, and tomorrow they get to celebrate some of that. So that's it for Northside.
Hi. For some service projects at the middle school, our student council also had a food drive, and they focused on crackers and soup. So that was great to have our student council take that on. As you heard mentioned with the Unity recognition, there was a fundraiser where they made around $400 to donate to Can Do. So that was an excellent example of service. In relationships, climate, and culture, thank you to our middle school parent group for hosting our rec night and a family fun bingo night. We've also had a Unity rec night and an Avid family chili cook-off night in the last month. And then finally, in teaching and learning, we are heading into rounds 2 and 3 of peer observations where staff have an opportunity to observe in other classrooms. Our first round, staff observed within their own PLC. The second round is within their department. And then we have a round 3 that's kind of simultaneous with the second round, which is an avid focus on our Wicker strategies.
Right. At the high school, obviously things are hopping again. The winter sports are in full swing. Everyone has started. As you heard, the musical performed. We're very proud of all the students that participated in the musical. A couple of items coming up here. In December, we have band concert on December 17th, the choir concert on December 11th. And actually on Thanksgiving Day, we have the student council is hosting the turkey trot. So 7 o'clock at Shilberg Park. What's that? National, what did I say? Student Council. National Honor Society. Thank you. Yeah. National Honor Society. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Miss Steve, Mr. Newland-Schwander, who are listening. National Honor Society is going to be, and students are going to be hosting the Turkey Trot. Starts at Shilberg Park. Just about 7 o'clock. And a note, and it's kind of in the future here, but we will be hosting our very first ever robotics competition on February 21st. Mr. Thomas is in the process of getting that together. They had their first competition this last week, but they are very excited to host their own. That'll be on February 21st for your calendars. And in teaching and learning, next Monday, all students in their homerooms in grades 9, 10, and 11 will be receiving their data that they received from the fall pre-ACT or practice ACT that they took, as well as their spring data from last year, actually going through a goal setting process. So every student will be looking at the scores that they've had, setting goals for what they want to do this coming spring, and talk about plans and how to achieve those goals. So as part of our prep for the spring testing, part of that at the high school level is really getting students to say, this is what my goal is, this is what I want to aspire to have, and why I want to get this goal and this score, and then what to do to get there. So that process is starting in all homerooms on Monday, December 1st.
Rich, sorry, would there be a way to get to the board, maybe Chelsea can help, a listing of, say, the sings and the dates that Jeremy just listed for the different school events in the event that the board wants to attend?
Yeah, Jeremy, can you send that to Chelsea and she'll get it off the board?
Yes, I'll send that, yes.
The concerts and then the elementary schools as well.
Yeah, if we can
Thank
get
you.
that from upcoming, like between now and winter break, upcoming concerts and events it does. But one other thing that we had on our agenda, under the superintendent's update is another exciting recognition event, award. And it's listed in the agenda as the WSPRA Spectrum Awards, and WSPRA is the Wisconsin School Public Relations Association. And every year at their annual conference, they announce their yearly Spectrum Awards. These awards recognize specific school district communication and marketing campaigns. Of the 149 total nominations for recognition from across the state, 18 were chosen to receive awards of excellence or merit in the referendum campaign category, and a number were also recognized in other categories. Our district received 2 awards, and one is a merit award, recognition of merit award for our Milton Minute series that is ongoing throughout the year with their video clips highlighting different things that are happening across our school district. And the other award was in the referendum campaign category, and that didn't get an award of merit for excellence. It received the Best in Category award, which is the very top award, the one district across the state that receives that. So I'm very pleased to share that our referendum communication from fall of 2024 was chosen as Best in Category for the past year. Carrie Clevo was at the conference this past week to accept the award. Carrie and Ross worked tirelessly on the referendum communication planning in the fall, but it really was a total effort of not just our staff across the district, but parent groups, booster clubs, community members, board members who went above and beyond to help us spread our message about our referendum. So congratulations to everyone who was involved, and congratulations to Carrie, especially for her work on both of those. We have the certificates are here that are presented, actually plaques that are here that were presented. So I wanted to highlight those awards and thank Carrie and Ross for their planning and everyone for their communication.
I wonder if we could have someone besides Carrie take a picture and possibly get our admin team up here to get a picture with the certificates, and because they're beautiful and to be best in the state. I'd like a picture with the board to recognize that. No, the board needs to be in it too.
I don't want to be in it, it's fine. I'm no, just the people in charge.
Okay, Sarah, where do you want us?
Right over here, Sarah.
You got it.
Here's Sarah, just like we did with the other ones.
I'm sure get the cords.
It's not gonna float like that.
Look up.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes,
All right.
Thank
you.
Congratulations.
I do it too. It helps.
Okay, lots of celebrating today. So wonderful way to recognize our professionals and our staff. And with that, we'll move on in our agenda to number 3, Instructional, Co-Curricular, and Student Services Committee Report. Jen?
All right, so the group met on November 17th, and as you can see by our agenda tonight, we had 11 items on our agenda. And so I'm going to let the folks that spoke at that meeting come on up, and we're first going to do the discussion and possible action on the ACT 95 Wisconsin Guarantee Waiver. Mr. Bill Horn?
Thank you very much. So Act 95 was once again was a state statute that for the Wisconsin Guarantee, which guarantees admission for incoming seniors and after junior year, guaranteed admission into the Wisconsin State School UW system. So the top 5% guaranteed to UW Madison, top 10% to the other UW schools. State statute calls for a ranking of regular GPA. However, after the initial year, which was 2 years ago, this last year, many schools chose to have a form of a weighted ranking, which requires a waiver from Act 95. So this rewards those students that take a more rigorous course load. So a student who perhaps has a 4.0 but took no AP courses or honors classes versus a student who took more of the challenging workload gives deference to those that took that more rigorous load. So in Milton, since we have the Law Day program, which originally is part of our graduation honors, we have a Law Day score. So most schools that have a Law Day system have actually gone to using this waiver system like we did this last year to have our ranking be based off a Law Day score. So to do that, we do have to have a waiver that's signed, which requires approval by the board. And so there is a recommendation on the slide and in the memo, unless you have any questions.
I got a quick question for you, Jeremy. Do the students know their class rank at the end of each year, or?
So the students, so class rank based off of their raw score or their Law Day score?
Law Day score.
They do not. So students can choose to require it. So we calculate that. Skyward does not calculate that. So we can get a GPA and we count scores. So we actually have a team of office staff and student services staff that each calculate those and double check that has to be done by hand. We do that at the end of junior years, and actually we keep one at the end of first try junior year and then the second try junior year, just so we are keeping track of that. Students can inquire at that time.
So they do know they can.
They can, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know how well known that is, but as we have gone to this last year, we have to make sure that they can get that information.
Thank you.
Jeremy, how did the program work this past year? This will be the second year. So
right. So, when you take a look at the students in the top 5% are students who may not have been, some were 4.0s, but some may have had a minus or a B plus, but they certainly are the students that took the most rigorous course load. So I think it is, for the system that the state put forth, I think it's probably, if you're looking at equity with regards to the students with the most rigorous course load and success, this is the best system to do.
do you know whether they accepted that, or did they follow up with you on whether they attended Madison?
I don't have that data necessarily, no. So, but we would not be able to. It's not like if roughly it's 12 to 13 students that are top 5%. I think it was 13 this last year. Don't quote me, but if let's say number 7 said, no, I'm not going to go to Madison, it doesn't move down one. So it is just those in the top 5%, whether one or all of them go to Madison.
Understood. And did you have any difficulties with the waiver last year? Did the state?
No, it was approved within a week that we sent it.
Fantastic.
In fact, we get a lot of requests for the language we use on our waiver from other schools.
Okay, I'll make a motion to recommend. Motion to recommend request for a waiver to the DPI for Act 95 Wisconsin guarantee criteria to use the MHS Loud score to rank students for the class of 2027.
Second.
So I have a motion from Tracy, a second from Ed. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Jeremy.
The next one on the item there is the new high school course proposals. I went into detail of those at the committee level, but we have 2 new courses, large animal production and then medical terminology. Medical terminology is, of course, is one of our most requested courses through Stark College now, through Blackhawk Tech. We are going to be able to teach, we would be able to teach that at Milton and have these advanced standing credit for that course at Milton High School. So we have those 2 courses for your approval.
And did the committee have a recommendation on that?
We did. Just as the motion is in the
Okay,
suggested motion.
The medical terminology class, is there already a staff member to teach that?
Yeah, so we'd be working with a current staff member who would be getting trained and has looked into that, is very eager to do that when we approve the course.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to recommend all new courses as proposed by the high school administration, starting in the 2026-27 academic school year.
so I have a motion from Rick, a second from Jen. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I think you're next, Jeremy.
All right, and the next one on the that was reviewed in the committee was the healthcare science program update. For the committee, I gave a more detailed review of what has been a really emerging and significantly quickly growing program at Milton High School. The course review that are listed there, each of these are courses that are at or near or past capacity this last year, as we are looking to this next for the 26-27 school year. We'll be increasing the numbers of sections of each of those. It's been very exciting to see the work that's been done there. I'm going to give a lot of kudos to Amy Kenyon for some of the work that she has done to really she's part of our job is to review what are the needs of the community, what are the job needs of the community, how do we match that with great jobs for students in the future. That's what Amy does. So a lot of that kind of led into these courses that we've developed over the last 3 and 4 years. And so we're looking to expand that in the future. Of note here too, the EMT program, we had 10 students this last year working with Mercy, with Rob Calhoun from Mercy, who they will be certified EMTs at the end of the school year. We had 16, we're able to train 16 students with Black Hawk Tech for the CNA program. We're looking to expand that and other options even beyond Black Hawk Tech and how to offer those certifications, and are in the process of doing that. We had quite the wait list this last year. And then it's outside of just the academic programming too. HOSA, which is the after school activity. Caitlin Lundeen, who is our advisor and teaches all these courses, has really just been on fire too. We have up to 70 active students in this fall. So it's quickly one of our faster growing after school programs. So the health care sciences program is continuing to flourish at the high school.
Thank you very much.
I think that's it.
Next, we're on the school to career program update.
So a lot going on with the school career program being the end of the trimester here. We have a youth apprenticeship co-op program has grown substantially with over 150 students in that. As Jeremy noted earlier, the CNA, EMT, firefighter, cadet programs, they're off and running. This year will be the first year that we actually have a student that, actually 2 students, I believe, that will be graduating. They took EMT this year, and then last year they took firefighter cadet, so that when they graduate from Milton High School, they can be a volunteer firefighter in the state of Wisconsin. So that's kind of a big thing because it's certifications, then they can go out and get a job right away. April 15th is our career day event this year. So just have the different rotations and everything up there, and a little plug for the sign up for volunteers. And then the Perkins Grant and Tech Incentive Grant, we had over 100 certifications from students in the class of 2025. That is a grant that takes into account certifications from Milton High School graduates or graduates in the state of Wisconsin schools. And the Perkins Grant, we are in a CLNA year, which is the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. So we will be working on that beginning in February, and working with the Janesville School District and the Edgerton School District to acquire data from the workplace and in general in Rock County. So.
Maybe you want to hold on to see if there's any questions.
Yep. Is there any question?
I'd just like to share that because of the work that Amy does and that our team at the high school and across the district, our Milton High School and our school district is recognized as having one of the best school to career programs for students and business partnerships across the state. So congratulations.
Thank you.
To Amy and to everyone involved in that program.
Thank you, Amy. Act 20 update.
All right, just a quick update on Act 20. There was some new norming, so cut scores are a little bit different, but you see the trend from when we were required to start giving the Ames Web Plus screener, which is for our readiness, Wisconsin readiness requirement, is from the winter. If you look at the total, we had 332 scholars out of our 898 are K through third grade scholars. That equated to about 36.9% of our scholars fell below the 25th percentile. So if you move on down this fall, we had 145 of our scholars out of our 895, which is 16.2%. So there's been a lot of intentional work done with our educators, our teachers, really focusing on that targeted 2, which is tier 2 supports. Just intentional of the win time, what I need time during PLCs, talking about how do we support not just our scholars who fell below the 25th percentile, but essentially kind of the bubble kids that we know with the winter cut scores are going to be higher. How do we really continue to look at their scores and their progress throughout the process so that they do not fall below the 25th percentile? So lots to celebrate when it comes to Act 20 and our early literacy skills for our early learners. The next one. Any questions?
Julie, the 25th percentile is set by who? Or whom?
The state.
The state. So they tell you what that number is, and does
Yes.
that number move?
So it's really, they look at kids who fell below the 25th, which is 24 and below. They have a reading plan. So what that means is that we have to be really intentional what their reading plan is and focusing on discrete skills that they may be lagging. So their goal is to identify our most early learners so that the gap doesn't get bigger, because our ultimate goal is by the time they're third graders, we want them to be proficient readers. So really this Act 20 is really to prevent and really be intentional of making sure that we're providing the right supports and the lagging skills that they are showing from trends from year to year or even testing windows. So we're really looking at that data. So I meet with our reading interventionists along with our administrators to talk about really keeping an eye on our scholars who fell below the 25th, but then also looking at that tier 2 groups of kids, because we want to make sure that they're still closing the gaps. We know that they're not quite there yet. And how are we going to wrap around?
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Then we're going to go on to secondary. So the secondary math team piloted 2 math resources, CPM, and then Amplified Desmos. So they have been, shout out to the math department. They have really worked hard on getting all the professional development from 2 different vendors and really decided that they used the rubric to determine which resource are we going to continue for the remaining of the school year. So when we met with both vendors, we had rubrics to follow, and then they determined as a team to decide which ones that they wanted to continue. And they have decided, they met on Monday, they went through a rubric. They really went through the process of looking at each of the different areas of the rubric that they felt is essential. And they decided on continuing the pilot with Amplified Desmos for the remaining of the school year, in hopes that by the end of the year that's what we will adopt. Questions?
Julie, I have one. Can you talk about why the current math curriculum would theoretically be replaced by whichever one of these we pick? What would trigger us to do a new curriculum? And then what do we hope to gain over the one we're using?
So we have big ideas currently, and that's a resource that our math team feels that doesn't meet the expectations when it comes to our standards alignment. And that's why they really are looking for another resource. Is they want to really make sure that it's rigorous, it's aligned to the academic standards, the Wisconsin standards, Common Core standards, to make sure. And then the other part is when we're looking at rigor, it's not just the memorization or the computation. It's allowing for math discourse and problem solving skills. And a lot of the programs that they're looking at is more scholar driven and not just teacher instructing. And there is a combination of how are they solving problems and engaging in that student's math discourse, being able to understand their way of thinking, the why of how to solve problems versus memorization or these are the steps that we follow to get the right answer. All right, I think the next one is our LMTS team. They're all here. They've done some amazing work and they're gonna give you an update of their goals. Every 3 years, they need to present to the board of their goals. So they have worked together and collaborated and they're gonna share the next 3 years goals. They will present every year and give an update on how they are reaching those goals. But tonight is them sharing the plan, but then the board does not have to approve until the December 8th. All right.
Good evening. I'm going to be speaking on behalf of the team. They asked me to do this, and this is part of our team that is present tonight. I would like to first explain a little bit. You might be wondering, why are we coming to speak all the time? Some people have heard us when we first did this in 2022. And others, this is brand new to you. So it started in 2019 when DPI decided that they wanted some librarians to take a Future Ready library course from ISTE. Kelly McNogue and myself applied for this scholarship and received it, and so we received the training from DPI. And the next step is actually working on the library plan, which is what we're going to talk about now. So there are specific components that is expected in the plan. One is to have a vision and a mission for our plan. So you can see our vision is to foster and support lifetime learning, inquiry, curiosity, and discovery to all students, staff, and family in the areas of literature, learning resources, technology, in a global digital world. Besides a mission, we also need to have a vision statement, and our vision is to be the heart of innovation within the schools in order to empower students to become future ready by developing their passions, creativity, and independent thinking. So that is part of the components. Then going ahead, in October, the Future Ready Library frameworks have changed. I would like to also let you all know that the state of Wisconsin is is being looked upon throughout the nation for following this model, and very well known librarians are looking at what Wisconsin is doing with the library plan and with the Future Ready Library frameworks. And we decided we were going to adopt the new ones that were just launched in October. So there's a few that look a little differently. The area of curriculum instruction assessment, we've got a gear about guides, responsible use of artificial intelligence, data and privacy. We have promote the ethical use of research, AI, and literacies, and there's a few other components with families and budgeting in our learning spaces. So we use this model, and when you look at this document here, you're going to see within this document that we break down all the Future Ready framework components and what we are currently doing, and we're looking at our deficits to write our goals. So just a little explanation there. So if we also go, we also have to take a look at what are the district initiatives. And so we're looking at the teaching and learning component in the technology, and we are guided by the Future Ready frameworks, our district strategic plan, and the portrait of the Red Hawk. And so we kind of use some AI to generate that document there, and these are our goals. So I'm just going to go over the goals with you on the next page. So we could have between 2 to 3 goals, and we chose 2 goals. So over the course of the next 3 years, our team will foster strong partnerships with at least 50% of instructional staff to support curriculum goals, enhance student learning, and model innovative teaching practices through library programming. And library programming does not just include instructing in the library. We're supporting using all the different gears of the Future Ready framework, and we're working in various settings. And sometimes as librarians, we're the behind the scenes person. You're not going to be aware of what we're doing, but we are supporting teachers and staff in various capacities. And then we have the rationale for our goal and measuring success that you can take a look at. The document that's up right now is our 3-year target. where we're going in this goal and where we want to go by the end of 2028. So by the end of 2028, we want to at least collaborate with 50% of the staff. We are also researching and learning about different forms of collaboration. So there are different forms of collaboration that can be co-teaching, that can be just sharing out resources. And then we want to be able to implement all forms of collaboration by the end of 2028. And lastly, we want to introduce and model at least 3 new instructional strategies, technologies, or literacy practices to instructional staff to integrate into their classroom. And then our second goal has to do with AI. Over the course of the next 3 years, our team will establish district AI guidelines for students and staff, identify and vet AI technologies that support teaching and learning, and assist in AI implementation district-wide. So this does touch with the data and privacy framework, but it also does touch in with the building instructional partnerships, as well as that is a component of the AI as model that we're looking at too. You can see the rationale and measuring the goal. If we go on to the targets and our outcomes, this is what we have right now, but we can adjust this as we go through the process. So we might end up change some of this depending on how far we get year by year. This is just where we think we'll be going. You know, if we could achieve some of these faster, that's wonderful. If not, it is what it is. So we're going to explore AI technologies this year and guidelines from other educational institutions to inform our decision making. We're going to develop AI guidelines to be reviewed by key stakeholders, such as teachers, administrators, and students. And we're going to circulate, draft, and collect feedback from at least 80% of our participating stakeholders. Our ultimate goal is to deliver AI-focused training sessions for staff throughout the year at the end of our 2028 target, offer one-to-one and team coaching of 50% of teachers using AI tools in their instruction during the first year, and collect and analyze usage data and feedback via needed-based survey from 60% of the staff and students, and provide guideline updates as necessary. So we don't know what we're getting into till we start this journey. And then lastly, our long-range plan, as always, is to create a library space that is accessible, flexible, and comfortable for student and staff use at all levels. And as Julie already said, we'll be back again in the spring to talk about where we are at in this journey. And then again in 2029, we'll be sharing what our next 3-year plan is. I want to thank the whole team. We worked really hard together, and I really like what we have come up with. It was definitely a consensus and a team creation here. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I do. First of all, this is awesome. It's really well thought out. It's easy to read, and I applaud you for putting the work into it. So thank you for that, and everybody that put hard work into it. My question would be on the AI targets, and I think you're definitely taking the right approach. So I think the right idea, 2028 is obviously a long ways away. AI is moving super fast. Is there a plan to do like kind of a bridge, keep it afloat until we get to that goal?
Well, we're hoping, depending on how much time we can work as a team, that we can move some of this along, but we were just being realistic in the amount of time we have as a team. So that is our roadblock right now, is how much time do we have as a team to get this moving. We do recognize, and we would like to, move some of those 2028 targets, would love to next year, but we'll see where we go this year.
And my other recommendation, and I'm sure you're already on this, Ms. Miles would probably endorse this, and so would Mr. Billhorn. You probably have about 1,000 AI experts sitting at the high school right now, and probably middle school too. So I would encourage you to tap into that resource, because they are probably like a fountain of information for you. So, and I know you will. So thank you for your work.
On that topic that you brought in, I want to highlight that the work toward providing AI tools for our students and guidance for our staff is something that our library tech and media tech specialists are working on, but also our administrators and other staff are working on it at the same time. And I know a number of our LMTS folks are going to be attending the state conference coming up here in about a week and a half or so, and then we're bringing back, there's a lot of breakout sessions specific to AI. And we'll be back soon.
I'd also like to thank you guys for putting this all together. It's a wonderful presentation. I echo the AI. I mean, I'm in the business world and I watch CP or continuing education on a daily basis of how fast it's moving. So hopefully you guys can find that time, because I think by the time you start a goal tomorrow, in 3 months it's already passed you by. So good luck with that goal. I really hope that you can do that, because our students need it. Our staff needs it. We know we need that guidance and that education on the fair way to use AI, because if not, we'll be left behind. I'd also just like to comment on goal 1. I think you guys provide support to probably 100% of our teachers in our district and our staff. So 50 is a great target, but I know how much work you guys put into working with our staff. So thank you for that you do on a daily basis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think, Julie, we're back to you.
Yep.
While Julie's coming up on this next agenda item on the district report card update, the state has recently unembargoed the report card results, so they are available publicly for our district and districts across the state. We are going to be diving in more deeply on our data shop in January, but Julie's going to share some high-level report card information with the group.
Yep. So there's 4 priority areas when we receive a accountability score is what they say. It's 0 to 100. So I think the important part is sometimes we associate that as to a percent. So the accountability score that we receive isn't based on percentage. It's based on 5-star category rating. So it starts with significantly exceeds expectations, exceeds expectations, meets expectations, meets few expectations, and fails to meet expectations. So it's not like a C, like a 70%. If you get a score of 70, it doesn't equate to a C. So the next slide shows what our district received, and our district overall score was 73.2, which is a 4-star rating, and it exceeds expectation. So that is a huge celebration, and of all the work of our scholars, of our educators, our staff, our community. It's our entire district received the 73.2. So it is broken into the scores below are our achievement, growth, target group outcomes, and on track to graduation.
So Julie, just a quick question on the data workshop might be the time to answer this question, so I'll arm you with it now. But with the kind of the recalibration of the student report card from, I think it was last year, this year.
Yep.
Just one thing I would appreciate is if somebody asked me the question on the street, how do I answer that? And if you can answer now, great. If not, that would be something I'd like to know for the.
So DPI is recommending that we don't compare year to year because of the recalibrations within those standards. The proficiency bands are what resulted in where our scholars fell. So the proficiency bands changed in where they scored. So essentially the recalibration says that we can't compare last year's scores to this year because of that recalibration. So essentially when we're looking at our scores, we compare our scores to the state.
Okay.
For this upcoming year is what it is. So they keep saying is you're using this as a baseline. So I've heard that for 3 years now, that this year is for baseline, and then things change. And then the next year is don't compare because this is for baseline. So that is something that our director group talked about with DPI around. There's a level of frustration because we can't compare and we can't see the trends that we want, because when we're looking at data, we triangulate the data and we can't compare year to year. So ultimately we compare ourselves to the state averages. And so we'll dig that a little bit more deeper when we have our data workshop.
So the way maybe as a layman would say it is everybody gets the same grading over the last year. We compare across the state.
Yes.
Okay, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
There's just one other note on that on the slide that's up on the screen. You can see the 4 different areas that go into that overall score. And we were really strong and have been traditionally too in achievement and on track to graduation. We've been a little bit lower in the growth and target group outcome scores, but the target outcome score that's listed here was a significant increase from what we had in past years. So we're really happy to see the work in that area paying off for us.
Julie, I guess I'm a little confused on the DPI rationale. So we get a growth score. How do they calculate a growth score without having a comparison to a prior year?
So they take subgroups and then they combine it to be a weighted growth score. So it's not necessarily year to year to year. There's different subgroups that they take into consideration for that score.
So on the slide prior, it says year to year progress in ELA and math achievement. So that's not
within subgroups.
And the other piece on that is they build in, they look at scores for individual students and for student groups and build in what expected growth would be. And for this year with the change in the system, they have to build in and give a student scored at a certain level this year. What is the expected growth for them on the new system? So it's not necessarily apples to apples in years where that system has some changeover.
That's a struggle for the districts to try to, because even when you compare against the state, if you compare against our county, I mean, you could just walk away being like, yeah, we did great, but it's not fair to our students, so, and not fair to your team. So it's baseline.
Yes.
The note is these are based on the Wisconsin Forward assessments that students take in the spring of every year, but these aren't the only methods or assessment scores that we use to measure student progress. We utilize, you've heard a lot about our iReady testing that takes place across the district, and that gives a much better look at numerous points throughout the year how students are doing and progressing. We'll dive into those scores at the workshop too.
Julie, can you just tell me a little bit about how they come up with this on track to graduation number? I mean, when is that taken? Is that taken for a certain class? I guess the reason I ask is, I mean, our graduation rates are in the high 90s.
So it's attendance. There's different components that gets combined into it. So it's attendance is one.
It's attendance, it's graduation rate, that's the biggest one. It's chronic absenteeism, which is part of the attendance rate. And there's some and attendance rates at the lower levels as well.
But like for like ninth grade, I guess I'm just.
Ninth grade attendance?
Do you understand what I'm?
Right. So it's on track for attendance. So there's a component of it is the graduation, on track for graduation. So part of it is the graduation rate. That's a big component of it. Part of it is, again, the attendance and it's absenteeism and they're set points at different, they look at attendance rates at different points from elementary up through middle school up into high school.
And at some levels, we don't have all of the same factors to measure. So at the primary level, they take the on track to like high school graduation readiness as the third grade ELA score, and then the chronic absenteeism and the daily absentee rate. So a lot of it is like 75% of it is the attendance for the elementaries, and then the 25% is how our third grade ELA score was. So each level, they take the pieces of the puzzle that they can to come up with the school score, and then they take it all in for the district-wide score.
It's really a misnomer to take a look at that number that you see and think about being graduation rate. Because we are in high 90s for that, but it's more than that.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
There's a lot when it comes to the report card.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we're on to early childhood celebration.
It's probably an easier topic to talk through. Just a lot of celebration. So we are looking at our early childhood. So that is our 3-year-olds who qualified for special education services and our students who are in 4K. They make up early childhood. So There's been a team that's on year 3 of 3 of an early learning technical assistance and implementation grant through the state. So what that grant focuses on is called Indicator 6. So Indicator 6 is one of the special education indicators that looks at where students are receiving their special education services. If you could flip to the next slide. Here we go. So 6A of Indicator 6 looks at are students receiving the majority of their special education services in the regular education classroom. So the threshold for that is 50% of their special education services. If you look at 2025 up there, that is the last time that we have a state target. It hasn't been released yet for this year, but the state target is 38.38, and that is lower than the national average of 42% of students in early childhood who are receiving 50% or more of their special education services in with their peers in regular education. Historically, we've been close, but not quite, or just barely there. We have been working with our consultant on the grant to shift up how we provide services for students in early childhood, and part of that includes the play groups that we do, where we have peers who are not identified as having a disability come in and receive some kind of early education and be able to have play groups with our students with disabilities. And so now we are trending right now for our number of current students who are in early childhood, which will continue to increase throughout the year because students turn 3 at any point throughout the year, so they don't all start in September, which is why that 43 out of 50 seems a little bit low in comparison to other years, is because that number is going to continue to grow. But right now we are at 86% of our students in early childhood who are receiving at least 50% of their services in the regular education setting, which puts Milton right at the top of one of the highest performing schools in the Indicator 6 area. So huge celebration there for the team that has been working on that. So the OGs of the team are Stephanie Hicks, Aaron Vogt, Jody Bennett, and Jasmine Sharp. And then they've added additional people to their team. So early childhood special education teachers, speech and language, and our 4K teachers who have been working really hard on our data to get inclusive services for our earliest, littlest learners. Any questions about that?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Elementary special education programming. Historically, we have provided 2 types of special education programming. Cross-categorical special education programming, which looks at all students with disabilities who receive some services in regular education, some in special education, and anywhere in between. And then we also have a more comprehensive, complex needs special education that has been referred to as ID programming or intellectual disability programming. Not all students who are in what has historically been called ID programming have an intellectual disability, but it's programming for our students who have the most complex needs. Cognitively, medically, they need more support than your typical student with a disability. And so what we usually do is we staff those caseloads lower. Usually 1 to 8 is our top, where we try to top that out at so that those students can get more complex care. Historically, that has only been provided at Milton West at the elementary level. Okay? What we've seen, especially this year, is a huge increase in the number of students who require that level of programming. So for 25-26, we have 21 students who require case management and programming for very complex special education needs. That is a 10 student jump from last school year. Some of those needs come from students who moved up from early childhood, and some of those needs came from students who moved into the district and are now district residents. A lot of that growth happened over the summer and wasn't something that we could have predicted in numbers from last year. Before this year, we've been between 7 and 12. And when we look at next school year, we have 5 of those students who will be heading off to Northside, but 16 will still be at the elementary level. So we've started some initial planning and conversations about what that looks like and how do we support those needs in one building. And the reality is we can't do it well. So we are talking about expanding programming for students with complex needs, not to just Milton West, but also into Milton East. Lots of reasons for that. One of them is more equitable services across the district. So most students can go to an elementary school, that's their home school, and those services across West and East can be more equitable in the opportunities that students have for inclusive opportunities. When we look at the district as a whole, 12.9% of our students are identified as having a disability that requires an IEP. At West, 15.1% of their student body are students with IEPs, while at East it's 6.9. So when we look at how to provide those services more equitable across buildings and meet needs in classrooms and have the space for the equipment that students need, we have to look at how to do things differently. What questions do you have for me?
Whitney, thank you for that information. I have a few questions. So you stated East and West. So those schools are very close to one another. Was that intentional, or why would Harmony not be considered?
Harmony has typically not had as big of a caseload as Milton West and Milton East have had. And the services that are within those two buildings have the capacity to support more needs because they staff more speech and language pathologists. Our OTs and PTs cover both of those schools. And we have some of the health needs within those buildings.
So what modifications would need to be made to East to accommodate and how many students are you talking? You're talking 8, 1 case managers, you said 8, max of 8?
Max of 8. Yeah.
How would the school need to be accommodated, not only physically, but also from a professional staffing level?
Yep. So we are looking at what the facilities would look like. So we've had initial conversations where we've had special education teachers visit the East site to say what that would need to look like. And there are minimal changes that would need to be made. What we're looking at is potentially looking at the playground space and how to make it a safer space there. But within the facility, the building facility itself, very minimal. It would look like, how do we get students equipment from West to East to support their needs there?
So would classrooms at East have to be reshuffled to accommodate for a space, like a room? So what we saw this evening, there was a room that was dedicated to those students. Is that space already available at East?
Currently, Milton East has an open classroom. And classrooms get shuffled sometimes throughout different school years. So decisions on that haven't been finalized, but it's something that we would look at and how to meet all students' needs best.
To avoid the disruption to the students that are currently there as well.
Yes. Yep. Nothing would happen this school year in shifting classes. So we are intentionally trying to make the decision early so that we have the time to prepare for it, to help train the staff at East, to support those students' needs with the transition process, and to make it so that we have the summer to make any of those changes so we don't disrupt students this year.
And then, so you're stating that 5 when we're moving on to North Side. Does that mean accommodations will need to be changed? Will changes need to be made at North Side to accommodate as well?
So there's shifts in numbers constantly in special education. So sometimes we get bubble years, sometimes we have very low years. And so it depends on the grade levels. So Northside having the 3 grade levels there, all of their numbers change for their students who are then moving on to the middle school. So we're looking at what the numbers would look like, but it would currently, with our numbers, it doesn't look like it would be any additional staffing.
Thank you.
Yep.
When do you expect to have a decision or a recommendation for having some of the students move to East?
Specific students, do you mean, or just the plan to expand? The plan to expand is something that we want to start as soon as possible so that we can prepare our staff and our students and our families.
There are staff meetings at both Milton East and Milton West tomorrow to talk to the staff about this and to share with them because we wanted to share it with the school board first. Once it's shared with the staff, they'll dive into the planning for next year.
Thank you.
And we can bring the board an update once we have the exact number of students that end up at each school.
I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
I'm gonna ask to circle back to one thing on the previous slide. I want to make sure that we highlight something. In that middle row, 6B is the separate special education class, school, or facility. I think there's a typo on the far right. If there are 3 students out of 50, that should be 6% instead of 0.06%.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to note that, and we'll make that change in our documents.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey there. So, the co-curricular update. First and foremost, the most pertinent thing we're working on right now is the transition from fall sports to winter sports. Very busy time in the athletic office. People kind of think sometimes that that's downtime, but the transitions are very busy. Getting everything in the winter up and running, all those sports, and then doing our kind of analysis and breakdown of the fall, and everything that goes into things like coaches' evaluations, surveys, Milton made, kind of all the wrapping up of fall. We just finished our last coaching evaluation on Thursday. We'll finish Milton made and get all that information out when grades are due next week. So there's a lot of analysis that goes in on the back end after each season as well. This fall, we also just had our fall signing day. 3 student athletes signed to play collegiately at the next level. Other things going on the athletic side of things, we're working on a Title IX self-audit to ensure equity in all of our programming between males and females. It's a big undertaking that we've started this fall and hopefully have that finished late winter. And then something else on the radar is our school, which was our facility management system, was recently bought out. There's a migration that's occurring to an Arbiter platform. It should be very minimal for the user, but there's work on the front, on the back end for us to make sure that that transition is smooth. So that's kind of where we're at. Go to the next slide. That's just, for your viewing pleasure, just a little snippet of some data that we collect and we analyze after each season. This is just participation data that we'll use to do some reports based on, allocation of resources and funding and how we're managing everything we manage based on athlete participation. From the activity side, a lot of stuff just kind of wrapped up. Obviously, we celebrated the Mamma Mia cast. Marching band finished 3rd recently in Class AAA again at state. A lot of conferences going on, FBLA Leadership Conference, Rock County Racial Justice Conference. We sent kids to both of those. We have some athletes going to the WIA Leadership Conference, like Miss Doomer here, in a couple of weeks. So that's a big thing this time of year as well. One thing I want to give a shout out is to all the clubs and activities in athletics that contributed to the Milton Meals Mattered initiative a little bit ago. Amazing output by all of our athletes, club members, a great collaborative effort there. What's very pertinent here, we have a new club that was just established this fall, the Future Educators Club. I thought I'd bring that up. That started out with 12 members, so that's brand new this fall. Something we're getting going and great for, being in a school, get some future educators going. Lastly, I talked about this in the summer. This fall, we expanded the athletic handbook to cover some activities in clubs and groups outside of athletics when it comes to things like academic eligibility and behavioral eligibility and those things. At the end of Try One will be our first adventure into how we're going to apply that to these new groups. So that is something that we will kind of look forward to doing and seeing how that comes back and how our groups responded to that. So that's where I'm at right now as clubs and athletics.
Thank you for that presentation. I have a question on the Title IX self-audit.
Sure.
Is that a requirement? Is that something the district voluntarily does? And who or what do you report that to, if anyone?
That is 100% voluntary. So I will say, going back a few years, when I first started here in 2020, there were some very glaring inequities that were noticed. We kind of started this work then, and it's kind of evolved over time. Mr. Tukendorf, always loves to put more work on my plate. He came to me and said, "Hey, we should do this." I said, "Yeah, we should." number one, the most important thing it'll do, it'll show and validate the equity measures we put in place. Because I think we've done a really good job in the last few years of doing that. And also shine a light on areas of improvement that we can, that's a big thing always, constant improvement. So can we find places that we can become more equitable? But it's completely voluntary and something that we're doing enthusiastically because it's an important piece of what we do.
No, I appreciate that. I was just curious on the result, if that had to go anywhere. But I think it's a great idea. The other question I have is, so on the athletic participation,
yep,
are some of the teams capped?
Yeah.
So I think that might be a little like an asterisk. It might just be helpful because for teams that are capped, it's not like we can see that team grow, but teams that are not capped, obviously you can see the big swings up and down. It might just be helpful moving forward, just because
so these numbers are the numbers that are parallel to what is required for reporting from the WIAA. And that's why they are what they are. In the committee, we actually talked about the cap, and there's only a handful of sports that we have that would cut or are selective in who's on the team. Those numbers are noted. They're just not part of this report because those athletes are not actually participating. But we have seen a rise in a few of our sports that do cut. Let's say just baseball, for example, there's going to be 85 kids that try out for 3 baseball teams. So those numbers are reflected upon. They're just not in this spreadsheet.
I just want to make sure we get credit for the amount of participation, because some of them are there's just only so many positions available.
For sure, 100%.
Yep. In the future, when the time is right,
sure,
I'd love to hear feedback on how the application of the handbook goes. I know that's a challenge. I'm curious. My head's racing how it's going to go for you
Me
guys.
too.
Yeah. So now is not the right time for that?
Well, here's what I think. A lot of really good work was done on the front end to, number one, communicate the new expectations. So like I personally went to the marching band. I went to the show choirs. I went to all these groups in which this was going to be a thing. And I think our advisors and our teachers did a great job of promoting the expectations. All that being said, it's not real to some people until it impacts you. So I think, maybe that can be something that we can reflect upon and get to you in the near future once the dust is settled on Try One.
Yeah.
To me, it's something I'm looking forward to seeing how that shakes out and what the impact of that is with our students.
Yeah. My ask would be when you think you have good data to bring back.
Yeah, for sure.
No rush. Just I'm curious how it goes for you.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to new business. And Jeremy and Stephen, updates on planning for healthcare, sciences, classroom, lab, and district maintenance facility.
I think we're going to start with the healthcare, the science facility, and then and a lot of it's going to be hand over to Stephen here. So you'll note in the memo that Steve and I have there, we've talked a lot about the growth of healthcare sciences at the high school, and on August 20th, we presented at the committee meeting that we and Stephen will be working with Pluckett Research on designs for a renovated space at the high school, which we have done and have worked with them in that process. Then we started taking a look at ways to make that a reality. I did want to highlight in here that, that programming is reflective of looking at the current programming and future programming. And so as we continue to refine what that could be for a potential space, really looking at growth of the CNA, look at improved space for the EMT program, look at future programs like phlebotomy, and looking at a simulation lab, and also a very flexible space for any future certification programs, and looking for a spot in the building that had a prominent location next to the SEM facility. We really feel like we've come across that. So you'll notice in the memo that we do have what a floor plan would look like. And as we have continued this fall, as I shared at that committee, we're talking with potential partners looking at how they could help with a facility, but not just facility, also ways that they could help with just our overall programming. So made a lot of great connections with healthcare providers with regards to connections with our program. But as we take a look at the next steps of proposing this actual renovation, I'll actually turn it over to Steve and what the next steps will be.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, so for next steps, as Jeremy mentioned, we have went through a pretty in-depth design process with PRA, our architect firm, taking a look at designing a preliminary space that would meet the needs of this program moving forward into the future. And those initial project plans at a schematic design level, we shared with two of our construction manager partners that are currently working on that schematic design pricing. And that schematic design pricing that we'll get back will just, we like to call it kind of a gut check on what those renovations could potentially cost. We did have them, have them costed out for a potential construction in the summer of 2026. Not that that's a pressure or a timeline on anything, but we had to establish a point in time for that pricing, what that might look like at a given point in time. And as the last line of the memo says, this could be a project that could be funded through our newly eligible to be used Fund 46. The only caveat with that is that it's currently not listed on the 10-year capital maintenance and improvement plan, which we plan on incorporating this project into the capital maintenance and improvement plan that would be presented to the board this year, most likely the end of January. So that would be a next step moving forward. We do have upcoming finance committee meeting scheduled to dive into the plans and the initial pricing that we are expecting to receive back very shortly, so that you can get a little bit more in depth on what that new space could potentially look like, what the cost of that renovation could also look like, and a potential first step, which would be engaging in a more detailed design contract with PRA to get that project through what we call the construction document phase, which is the full-blown set of plans. So that would be where the real first pucks would hit the project. So that's, I guess, a glance at what would be to come on that project.
There's two things that I want to share on that. One is, as Stevie shared, there's a finance committee meeting scheduled for the first week in December, and information from that will come to the full board at that board December 8th. So we have more information on some steps moving forward at that meeting. And then Jeremy, while you're up here, could you kind of share on the document on that floor plan what the different spaces would be used for if that comes to fruition?
Yeah, so you'll notice that at the top there's 4 bed stations. So that would be for an expanded CNA program, but also be 4 simulated hospital classrooms. Hospital rooms with a simulated wall in front. So while we wouldn't have gas and oxygen and all thing actually on there, you'd actually have the terminals what it would look like. So we'd have the ability for to train CNA students in what a hospital setting, but also potential other certifications as well. And so working with PRA, they had a health education expert. It was fascinating to learn about what those facilities could do, and also looking at what is done at Black Hawk Tech and UROC. University of Wisconsin Whitewater, and so students are progressing into those programs. So it's a similar experience. We've done, like, I'm just going to go back to another way. We did that when we did the welding facilities at the high school. So students going from our facility to Black Hawk Tech to other, it's a seamless transition, and we've found that helps. So we wanted something that's going to be that transition for them in their education, something that's going to be more familiar. So those 4 areas before a bed station. So we for a CNA, general classroom space in the middle. You see. The area just over here, the simulation lab, and this is working with our staff who are teaching CNA, but also Rob Calhoun, who does an EMT program. This is increasingly more used space. It's where students actually, you could have a bed in there, or there's actually would be a screen. So if our EMT students would walk in, they'd see on the screen, it would be what is the scene in the living room when they come in. If they're in an ambulance, they walk into a house, or it's maybe it's a crash scene on the highway, and without having actually on the other side of the screen, on the other side of the window, there actually would be the evaluator. So they're actually able to program what do they see and how do they respond. Or you can have a hospital bed in there. How do you respond? And so again, this is working with the health education design consultant, along with our own staff about facilities of how to help really enhance our program. At the bottom there, you'll see a phlebotomy room, and so part of a future phlebotomy. We've actually I've talked with Sauk Prairie High School, which has started one of the only one I have found that actually had a phlebotomy program at the high school, but is hugely successful. It's actually a program we have heard that is needed. I'm looking at Amy right now. She has been working on this for a while, but we'd have a space that is dedicated for that. And you'll see a bathroom there, which we said like a hospital bathroom. So as students are training, or even you could work as an in-home situation, whereas we're training students to work with patients in a hospital setting or in a home setting and how to provide that care. So this space here, just the location, I'll mention as well too. I'll update some of you here about this is the original band and choir room area on the very end of the building. So the STEM wing is directly, the new STEM wing is directly to the west of the space that you have there. Is there any questions about the space design?
What's there now?
So right now you have classroom. These are each classroom spaces. One is a science storeroom. One is actually an empty classroom. One is a room special education is using that we have other space for them too. So one of our benefits with the last phase that we had with the construction, the additions to the high school, is we have more flexible space in the interior. I think this is an excellent use of that space.
Jeremy, you mentioned at the committee meeting a cap of 8 students. I forget what. Could you just walk us through that?
So CNA, the state of Wisconsin, through the certification process, caps a class with 1 instructor. It's 1 instructor to 8 students through a certification process, so that they could be working. That's the cap that they have. So there are situations where you might, if we had the ability to have. This is a parallel conversation. This is we're looking at ways to get more instructors or different ways to increase the number of classes. We'd have the space here, but you could have 2 students per bed in this situation here. Or in some situations, we have seen where they could have 2 instructors in 1 class. You could have 4 students at each bed station.
Okay.
This gives us that flexibility.
Sure. And I mean, as we talk about these programs and the stuff you guys are doing, I think it's tremendous, but is there room to grow this space left, right, up, down anyway, or is this kind of the end of the growth of this space?
So will there be future expansion beyond this?
Is there the ability to do that, or are we kind of?
I guess I'll look at Stephen. I would say, first of all, the space that we're designing allows us for continued growth too. And I will also say proximity here too. There are some of the 1999 science classrooms, which are actually here and here. Running this in conjunction with our science program, I've got some of these courses, the anatomy and physiology classes, human body systems, are in the classrooms right in this area. So this will grow into really a hub we have the number of courses there for the healthcare sciences. So if we really wanted to expand, there's potential. Those classrooms you see to the right there, I don't see that in the near future.
Sure.
This gives us a great space to move into this.
Thank you.
One thing I forgot to mention, this current program is in downstairs. It's next to the FACE classroom and by our alternative ed program in the original library. So it's down in the on the bottom of the school. This would bring it into a much more prominent space. So students are walking by each day. I think will only increase the proximity and the visibility, increases student interest.
So just a clarification on the 1 teacher per 8 students, right?
That's for CNA.
For CNA. So then if we have, is it such a thing where we can have a first hour class with 8 students and a second hour class with 8 students?
You certainly could.
Does it require longer class times?
So they do require longer class times. So there's a certain number of hours. Amy, help me out. 90 hours for the certification program. Our current students come in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and so they extend their first period. We could do something like that, whether it's over 2 class periods or over at the end of the day. There's different ways. Right now, we only offered first and third trimester. We would start with adding a second trimester course too right now. And again, this is a parallel conversation. Black Hawk Tech hasn't been able to offer us staffing for that as well. Otherwise, we would have expanded it. So like I said, a parallel conversation is ways that we're looking to increase the staffing for CNA. CNA is important. That's not just a terminal position. I mean, some of our students choose to do that and have a wonderful career working in CNA. A lot of our students are looking to go into the nursing field or in pre-med or almost, I'm looking at Amy right.
A lot of the UW schools, if you apply to the health sciences school, within that school, they're requiring CNA.
Sure.
So it creates the more that we can offer our students, so that it puts them at that much bigger an advantage as they go into their post-secondary program.
So given the scheduling, everything, just ballpark, like how many students will be able to take advantage of this space in a semester?
So how many would be able to take, so we would have CNA students, if we were to have 2 sessions, that's 16. We can have up to 15 in a EMT course. But then I would also use this space for the list of courses I had there. So we have anatomy and physiology. We have our introduction to healthcare careers. I mean, we had 2 sections of that. I could have offered 6 or more this last year. I would put that in the space too. So I see the space being used the full day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, that's yours.
All right. Second project to talk about here this evening would be an update on the planning for potential new district maintenance facility and the animal sciences facility. So yeah, just a quick recap. Back at the April 14th meeting, we brought up and talked about the FFA alumni possibly looking at wanting to do something for a large animal facility. And at that time, the ideal location for that would be somewhere close in proximity to the existing FFA facility, greenhouse, all that good stuff. And that is currently where the district maintenance shop sits. So between April and now, we've done a little bit of project development on that front too. And I just also included in the memo some background information on the current size and age of the district maintenance facility as it sits today. I won't go through the numbers in specific, but there's definitely been a lot of growth in the district since the last time the district maintenance facility had any additions or renovations or anything like that. I also listed some of the operational challenges that we currently face with our current district maintenance operations. And I lost my spot here. And we have had the district maintenance shop as a potential addition on the capital maintenance and improvement plan for quite a few years. That just hasn't been a project that has really fit nicely in with all the other priorities that we've had for facility needs around the district over the last 10 years or so. And yeah, during the capital referendum in 2019, this wasn't one that made the cut just because, we prioritized dollars into classrooms and buildings and all that good stuff at that time. We also, in the last few months, have taken a look at, okay, if we do relocate the district maintenance shop, where would we put one? And I did include a map on the very last page that shows an aerial view of the current high school campus. And that building on the bottom left there shows the current location of the district maintenance building. And it also shows the location for a proposed new district maintenance building, which would be on the corner of, actually it would be in Central Park, probably best known as the former location for the ice rink way back in the day. Current location where our shot put pits are, and it's on the corner of Hilltop and Municipal Drive. And that would serve as an ideal location for a district maintenance facility to get, us at the district maintenance building separated a bit from the high school and the commingling of our traffic and district receiving and all that good stuff that takes place throughout the day. Next steps for a project like this are very similar to what I talked about. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to pause you just for a second, Stephen. You alluded to some of the things that are in the memo without going into them, but I think it's important just at a high level to highlight a few of the reasons why There has been and continues to be a need for increased space for a district facility, district maintenance facility.
Sure. Yeah, I can dive into that. So yeah, the current building was built in 1979. It's basically a pre-engineered metal building, 5,000 square feet. The district at that point in time was 315,000 square feet. And it was actually only 6 buildings at the time, and now we have 8 buildings, and we service more than 721,000 square feet. The operational challenges that we have is I was just mentioning the size and the location of the building. We are really limited on what we can keep, what we can store, what we can do in that current building, just based on its size and what we have available to us. We do over the last 10 years or so, the things that we do in district maintenance has expanded quite a bit, from the things that we are able to do and perform in-house to the things that we take for district receiving. Instead of having large shipments shipped directly out to schools like they used to do 10 plus years ago, we take everything at district maintenance, kind of coordinate, assemble, deliver from there, instead of having full semis pull up to school buildings, which was always a really big issue and safety concern in my opinion. So those issues that we're currently facing right now are really limited for how we can rectify that where the building currently sits right now. And when we were approached by the FFA alumni, it really seemed like an ideal opportunity with a potential renovation of that current building to be an FFA large animal facility, and then to relocate and build what we need to, service the district well into the future. Did that answer the question? Perfect. And then, next steps for a project like this would be, we have the initial schematic design for new building with our construction manager partners as well, just like the healthcare sciences project. And at that upcoming finance committee meeting, we would like to review and dive into a little greater detail on what that potential building floor plan and surrounding areas might look like, and take a look at some initial pricing that we will have received by then. And much like the healthcare sciences one, if the project were to move forward, it could be funded through Fund 46, which would not require that additional taxpayer funding.
One last thing that I want to note on that is that by funding these projects through Fund 46, and we will have, down the road, we would have the total cost, but in the anticipated or projected costs, we'd be able to fit that in pretty well within Fund 46. It not only doesn't require any additional taxpayer funding, but it also doesn't impact the current year's budget. We wouldn't have to make reductions somewhere else in order to pay for these needed and valuable facility needs.
Questions for the shot put area?
So part of the project development that we took a look at would be relocating the shot put area. And if I can just walk up here real quick, we would relocate the shot put area into just to the west of the current parking lot for Central Park. And we talked with Jeff and took a look at what was truly needed if we were to relocate that, and found a spot that would be ideal for that moving forward.
Stephen, one of the issues you mentioned was the access and driving, the deliveries to the current building. That Central Park, the north lot there, that gets pretty packed at times too. Would there be another driveway entrance to the building, or would we still only have that one access point?
There would be a second access point.
Like to the north or east?
That's kind of up for development yet. We're in conversations with the city too on how they would want that traffic to look, but we would definitely want that second entry point. If you kind of picture how a 53-foot semi would need to pull in and navigate safely around there too, even with that parking lot potentially busy, we want to definitely make sure we have that entry and exit point to do that safely.
Another question for you. Once upon a time, a couple of years ago, we had talked about maybe putting this building to the north of the baseball diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still an option, or is this now deemed a better option?
This is now deemed a better option. The space directly to the north of the diamond was definitely limited based on the grade and drop off to Municipal Drive. and it really limited our access to there. I think at the end of the day, like I say, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but we want to gain access to not only Municipal Drive, but Hilltop too. It kind of would serve as a really nice in and out for traffic like that. And at that time too, we did, way back when we did the tennis courts, I forget what year that was, but we did have a potential metal building planned to the west of that parking lot as a future storage building, but it wasn't to the size of replacing a district maintenance shop.
Question. Obviously this came about when the FFA approached about and you thought about the renovations, but has there been follow up with them? Like if that doesn't happen, does this not happen? Is it A equates to B, or it's standalone?
Great question. So we have had a lot of conversations with the FFA alumni about their willingness to move forward with renovating the current district maintenance shop to be their large animal facility, and they have been working behind the scenes to gather plans and what they would want to do with that they would ultimately present to us. But working with them, they are 100% committed to move forward with that renovation should we move forward with replacing the district maintenance shop. I actually just had a conversation with Chris Boston with the FFA alumni about that Friday of last week. So they're very eager to move forward with that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Would that require a letter of intent? So again, we go, and
Yeah.
again, I just look at it to say, if we go ahead and we do this and move the building and then they realize the cost is more than they're willing to pay, is that something that we then would do internally, or would that building stand empty? I guess it's a lot of hypotheticals in that question. Sorry.
I'll let Rich jump in on that one.
If we did relocate the district maintenance facility and then something fell through with the FFA's plan for their contribution to the channel facility, and the current plan is that they would fundraise and pay for the entire cost of the renovation. If that fell through, then we would have to look at how we utilize what currently is the district maintenance facility. We're always in need of additional storage space. But the building, as of now, the building of the FFA large animal facility would be dependent on the FFA. It could be something that the district could consider if it does fall through, but that isn't our plan.
Okay, so it's not all encompassing. This move requires that then we would retrofit that building internally. If this move happens, that building's available. If they choose not to, then a different plan would come up.
And like Rich said, I was going to say exactly what he did. The high school is in need of storage at all times anyway, so that could be a great indoor heated storage spot for stuff that we currently keep outside. So,
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Another thing that I want to share on that, on the healthcare sciences plan, you had heard that potentially that work, configuring work could happen in the summer of 2026 and be ready for the start of the school year, fall of 2026. With the district maintenance facility, if both of those projects move forward, the best timeline would be to begin that work, building the new maintenance facility in the fall of 2026. And then once that move is made, then the FFA alumni would have a year to do their fundraising, and then construction on that portion would take place the summer of 2027 for student use, then would begin in the 27-28 school year. It would be an aggressive timeline, but it's very doable.
Is there a little insight here? Obviously, I'm a member of the FFA alumni, albeit I've not been at some of their meetings most recently, but I've been involved in this discussion for a number of years. So this is not 6 months ago or even 12 or 18 months ago. This has evolved over a bunch of time. They reached out to me just in the last week and would like to, in earnest, undertake some of their fundraising. And they said, is there a commitment for the district to build a maintenance building? I think it's a bit of a
chain reaction, if you will, or whatever. We have to vacate the space that we're currently in, and it subsequently could be renovated along the lines of what the alumni is looking at. And I think they're looking for the district to say, yes, we are building a maintenance building. Because then they will undertake the fundraising portion to accommodate what they've got for plans and designs and whatever. Some of you may not know historically what the alumni has been able to do. And if you have any question about whether they could fundraise to renovate or accommodate the plans, Shilberg Park in its entirety, the old ag facility that has been renovated now at the high school, but an entire building donated to the district, and the previous renovation of Carl F. Anderson Field, all done by the FFA alumni, all 100% fundraised, et cetera. So the capacity is certainly there, the history is there, so rest assured if they take this project on, and I'm speaking somewhat generically here, but it will happen. So don't worry about that piece of it. I would wonder, Stephen, how quickly, you have done a wonderful job of articulating in a humble fashion your needs for this district maintenance building. I think I've had dialogue with you over the years. It has been needed for a number of years based on what your group is able to do and what we've asked you to do with the doubling of the square footage, et cetera, et cetera. I would have liked to have seen this maintenance building built 2 or 3 years ago. And the fact that we're taking it seriously now is great. I would ask how fast we could move, how quickly we could move on this. I think it's been identified that we can pay for it. We've got a vehicle. It's not like, taking a piece out of this year's budget and moving things around or whatever. I think we've got a path, and you outlined that, of a way that we could do this. So the means to do it is there. The need is certainly there. I would advocate for moving as quickly in this direction as we could. Not based on what the next use of your current building is. It's based on what you and your staff are able to do for this district. And here again, you've been humble and modest, but I happen to know district maintenance operations in other districts and have a comparative that, like many pieces of our district, super, super high functioning. These folks do an incredible job for us with the maintenance, the upkeep, the daily tasks, et cetera. I think it's obligatory on us to provide them with the spaces to do that in the most efficient way possible. Certainly the current facilities, while they've made it work, are somewhat limited, and Stephen outlined that. So I think this is a project that as a district and particularly as a board, to recognize not only the hard work and effort that Stephen and his group do, but what it does for our district. We will be able to perform these tasks better, faster, more efficient, et cetera, which benefits everybody, the students, the staff, and all of us. So I think I'm anxious to hear at the finance committee where the plans are, et cetera, but I would ask questions about when can we break ground? When can we get this plan approved? When can we get it on the drawing board? And I think we should move in this direction sooner than later.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words, Joe. Much appreciated.
Quick question, maybe this is a Ross question, but statutorily, Fund 46, is there a timeline or a period of time that these have to be on the 5-year improvement plan?
In terms of getting ready for putting them on the plan, no. So long as we put it on the plan before any construction begins, we are statutorily within our rights to do so. Many districts do not review or update their 5 or 10-year plan on a yearly basis. We do, which gives us the ability to bring any proposed changes and impacts to the board on a regular basis so that we can make changes if something were to come up.
Just to be clear, I think Stephen mentioned this is on our 10-year plan, correct?
It is in an addition to the current maintenance shop, but we plan on making the change for the subsequent one coming to you to reflect what our next steps are.
I think Tracy had something next.
Yeah, so going back to what Rick had said about the shot put. So obviously track season starts in March. So that would have to be action prior if this were to move forward to get that relocated.
I like Rich mentioned, I don't think any ground would break until the fall of 26. So we would get through the spring season before then, talking with the architects and engineers we've been talking with. Lead times for pre-engineered metal building are out there a little bit. By the time we get through a full design of the building and, get numbers on the building and go through contract execution anyway, you're talking like you're into May and June already anyway. So track of 26 would not be
Understood.
So,
and circling back to that, and I'm going back to the health part. In the meeting that was back held in April, I think it was, we talked about fundraising.
Yeah.
Is that still an opportunity?
Yeah, so this fall, I've been in the process. I've talked with almost a half dozen different potential partners with that. That is still in progress, but it is, there's been challenges with that as well. Yeah.
Ed, did you want to speak?
Yeah, just a quick question for Stephen. Thank you for taking all these questions.
Oh, yeah.
You did a good job.
Appreciate that.
Just actually more of a comment, just an encouragement. And for anybody who's listening at home, just articulate that is actually our property. So those of us that lived in the town forever, that it was the ice rink forever, and it might be not understood that a few years back we acquired that property, and that we do have the right to. So we may get some initial, like, how can they do that?
Yeah, that's a great point. In 2022, the city did gift us Central Park for the renovations that we made for improvements to the tennis courts, parking lot, all that good stuff. So yes, that is official school district of Milton property that we can make.
So as we move forward, I would just encourage us to keep kind of throwing that.
That's a good
weaving that in.
Yeah, good point.
Anything else for the good of the group? Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Next, we go to the WIAA co-op application. Doesn't say who's doing that, but I'm assuming it's you, Jeff.
It is.
Okay.
So you see me every year come up and get our renewals for our WIA co-ops of the co-ops in which we are the host school. Annually, it is the sport of gymnastics that for some reason is done every year. I'll propose to re-up that co-op that we have with Edgerton with absolutely zero changes to how that co-op has been operating since its inception a very long time ago. The second co-op that we'll need approval on is our boys hockey co-op with that slew of schools listed. I'm not going to list them all. It's very long. With that is exactly the same. The amount of schools and the schools that are participating will continue for another 2-year block. The only adjustment we would make in the hockey co-op for the following 2 years is the financial terms. So as you know, we moved to the Woodman Center, and that has been a dream so far for us and our hockey program. And what is incredible is that we have more access to ice than we used to have in the past. So kind of unintended consequence is that we get to practice more. And so there'll be an increased cost for ice time because of the hours that we're allowed to be on the ice compared to the Mant Center. So to adjust for that cost, we would up the cost that we would charge each school per athlete to $2,000 from $1,750. Would be the only change from the current cooperative agreement that we have. That information has been provided to athletic directors of each of those schools with the concept of agreeing to continue being part of our co-op under those terms. So I would need two motions, one for the gymnastics co-op and one for the hockey co-op.
Jeff, quick question. The financial terms and considerations, preliminary budget, 46,000. That's the total expense to have that co-op program, and then the other schools then
yes
reimburse us accordingly.
Correct.
Per athlete.
So they pay a share per athlete. Right. And then if sometimes, like for example, Bigfoot this year, who's in our co-op, doesn't have an athlete that's participating, they don't pay in. That makes sense.
Jeff, I think it's great on the hockey. I've been to games the old. I haven't gone to a New Year game yet, but
You
the
should
old,
go.
and I absolutely will. But I did speak with athletes who struggled a lot because the ice time they were been given was very late in the evening. So they were practicing and then trying to come to school the next day. So
Right.
I look forward to the opportunities this gives our athletes.
Yeah, a year ago, we were practicing at 9:30 at night in Stoughton. I was able to go to practice the other day after picking my kids up from daycare at 5:20. So this move will be absolutely tremendous for our hockey program in all ways.
Absolutely. I'll start with move to approve the 26-27 WIAA co-op for girls gymnastics as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion from Tracy, a second from John. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026-27 WIAA co-op for boys hockey as presented.
Second.
I have a motion from Rick, a second from Ed. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll
Thank
need
you.
to get a couple signatures before
Yeah.
you go to closed session. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We are on to miscellaneous action on staffing reports.
I'll make a motion to approve the staff report presented. Second.
I have a motion from Rick, a second from John. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Monthly financial report. Ross, is that you?
Ross, can you just give a, since this is the first time we've done the monthly one, after this month it'll be standard, but since this is the first one, you can just
Absolutely. I was just confused because I thought you were skipping over the staffing reports. But yes, this is a format we've used in the past fiscal year for quarterly reports, and I'm making a shift this year to supply these monthly. Since we haven't put out a quarterly report for quarter one this year, I've attached the September report, which is what would have been the first quarter report, for some initial review. My goal is to publish these at the next available board meeting following all the month-end closing work, including bank statements. So you might be wondering why we're looking at September. We just finished October. In fact, I looked at the bank statements today, so I'll bring that for that first meeting in December and try and get us on track. So we will look at these at the second board meeting every month. I also wanted to highlight this first quarter report because we haven't looked at a first quarter report this way yet, to really show how little revenue comes into the district in that beginning part of the year. We've talked a couple times about cash flow in the previous years, and this really does highlight the little amount of money that comes in before the first half of the year is finished. And on here, there's some money coming in from student fees and interest earnings in many of our funds, but a lot of our major sources of revenue from the tax levy and from the state in forms of aid, categorical aid, and all other things you've heard me talk about since the annual meeting, those aren't really going to come in large quantities until after the turn of the year. So when we come back in December and look at the October reports, you're going to see some of those similar things. Not a lot of revenue coming in, but some fairly consistent spending on the expenditure side year over year. Real quickly on the expenditure report itself, this is organized the same way the annual meeting documents are for budget approval. It's organized by fund and then 2-digit function area. The function area is the 6-digit code in every general account code we have. Anything beginning with a 1 in the function code is an instructional purpose. Anything starting with a 2 is a support service, whether that be for student services, business services, technology, or centralized services. Everything in the Fund 27 is associated with special education, et cetera. Some things on here that are looking like they're already spent for the year are by design. For example, in the Fund 10, $270,000, you'll see that the insurance and judgments category is almost fully spent for the year. And that is intentional because we paid the premiums for our district insurance, for our workers' compensation, property insurance. All those are paid for after July 1st for the entire year. Similarly, for debt services, that would be the lease for all of our student and staff devices that we have each year. Those payments go out at the start of each fiscal year. So those budgets are fully spent for the year by design. Other areas you're going to see are hovering in that 15 to 20% range as of the end of September. This is consistent with how payroll runs. These areas have most of our staff incorporated into them, seeing as how we are about 3/4 staffing for the entire district. Each month, when these come back, you'll see these kind of going in the same cadence throughout the year. And the columns on here also indicate what the original budget was that we approved last month. And the revised budget or any changes we make during the year will also be reflected here each month. And then at the end of the year, which we've done since I got here and way before me, is we'll talk about any budget revisions required throughout the year, either due to coding changes at the DPI or in areas that necessitate a change in the budget midstream. So if there's any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will aspire to publish these as soon as they're available each month. Okay.
No questions. Thank you so much, Ross.
Thank you.
Action, I entertain a motion on gifts and donations.
I'll move to approve the gifts and donations with gratitude.
Second.
I have a motion from John, a second from Tracy. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are on to meeting dates.
Yeah, so we talked about doing the work for the resolutions for School Board Association. Those are due out any day now, hopefully, knock on wood, cross our fingers. And that would give us a chance to review them as a group, bring them forward to the regular board by the 8th. That's the goal. So everybody can take time to review them and then have another look at them and then a kind of an approval moving forward with how we're going to vote at the school board conventions. The goal, the dream is to have time for the committee to review them, bring forward a recommendation, give the board time to digest, and then come back for a decision prior to the January meeting.
We'd like to get that meeting scheduled, and then if we don't have access to them, then we will cancel the meeting and reschedule it at a later date.
In a new strategy.
And then one other thing, it's not a committee or a board meeting.
Thank you very much. Next item is we'll be contemplating a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1985 1C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. We'll be meeting to continue our discussion on the annual superintendent's evaluation. We will not be coming back into open session. We will not be having any action after that closed session. Roll call. Joe, I'll start with you.
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Annette's a yes. John?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Okay, we are in closed session. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.